arguably the most meticulously planned, flawlessly calculated, and absolutely audacious cyber heist in human history. We're going to step into a digital crime scene, the Bangladesh bank heist. And trust me, this is an explainer where world-class digital espionage runs headfirst into an unbelievable twist of fate.
$951 million. I mean, we're talking nearly $1 billion here. This wasn't your standard bank robbery with ski masks, heavy vaults, and getaway cars. The hackers set their sights on a prize so massive, it literally had the potential to cripple the entire economy of a sovereign nation.
But here's the wild paradox of modern cybersecurity. The global financial system is guarded by arguably the most impenetrable digital armor on Earth, right? Yet, it was completely defeated by a single fake CV download back in January 2015. The hackers sent a targeted phishing email to the Bangladesh National Bank's servers. It had a zip file, supposedly holding a job applicant's resume. 3 bank employees opened the email, and 1 actually downloaded the file. And just like that, without even knowing it, that simple human error bypassed billions of dollars worth of security. The greatest robbery in history had officially begun.
Section 1. The Trojan Horse. Infiltration and Spying. So to pull this off, the hackers didn't just drop some basic virus into the system. No, they activated a highly sophisticated 3-part ghost malware on that infected computer. First, it opened a backdoor directly into the bank's private network. Second, it created an encrypted, totally untraceable communication channel so the hackers could pull information out without anyone batting an eye. And third, which is honestly the most chilling part, it secretly recorded screens and keystrokes for a full year. For 12 long months, the hackers just sat invisibly in the network. They learned who was doing what, exactly how money was transferred, and what the daily routines of the bank employees looked like.
Now, to understand how they actually planned to steal the money, we need to understand the SWIFT system. You could think of SWIFT as basically a highly secure WhatsApp used exclusively for national banks. The hackers learned that Bangladesh's massive foreign currency reserves were actually held over in the United States at the New York Federal Reserve. See, the New York Fed physically holds the money, but SWIFT is the messaging software that tells the Fed where to move it. The hackers knew that if they could locate and take over the specific computers running SWIFT inside the Bangladesh bank, they could dictate terms directly to New York.
And they laid their groundwork incredibly early. In May 2015, which is nearly a full year before the actual robbery, the hackers opened dummy bank accounts at the RCBC Bank in Manila, over in the Philippines. They deposited just $500 into each account under fake names, and then they just let them sit there. Complete silence, waiting for the big day.
Moving on to Section 2, a masterpiece of timing. Now, what's really interesting about this is the brilliant logistics of the attack date.
The absolute masterpiece of timing that made this whole thing possible was February 4th, 2016. They struck on a Thursday night. In Bangladesh, Friday is the start of the weekend, so the banks closed, leaving pretty much nobody around to notice any suspicious activity. But at that exact same moment, it was Friday morning in New York, meaning the Federal Reserve was wide open and processing transactions as usual. And, to make it even more flawless, the following Monday was the Chinese New Year holiday in the Philippines, meaning banks there would be closed too. They engineered a 4-day window of complete silence across 3 distinct time zones. It was a completely clear runway.
When the time finally came to pull the trigger, they didn't just ask for $1 billion all at once. Obviously, that would instantly trip the authorization alarms at the Fed. Instead, they carefully divided the theft. They fired off 36 smaller, perfectly formatted transfer requests directly to the New York Fed. And because they had studied the system for a year, these requests looked exactly like routine, everyday business. The money just started flowing like water.
Section 3, the billion-dollar typo. This is where the brilliant plan hits an unbelievable roadblock.
Because even the most brilliant technologically advanced plans can unravel in an instant. Out of those 36 transfers, one specific request for $20 million. The intended destination was a small charity foundation in Sri Lanka, and the money was being routed through a corresponding bank in Germany.
The hackers intended to send the money to the Shalika Foundation, but when they were typing it out, they spelled it Shalika Foundation. They completely missed the letter O. Now, this wasn't caught by the mighty Federal Reserve. It was actually caught by the German routing bank, who thought a massive $20 million transfer to a misspelled charity looked, well, highly suspicious. They immediately flagged it and wrote back to the New York Fed, which sparked this massive panic as everyone realized they were actively being robbed.
At this point, you're probably wondering, didn't the bank have an internal system to catch this? How could an entire weekend pass with millions of dollars draining out of the system without someone in Bangladesh noticing?
The answer is shockingly simple: a compromised HP LaserJet printer. Seriously, the Bangladesh bank actually had a dedicated printer sitting in the corner of the office, whose sole job was to automatically print a physical log of every single incoming and outgoing SWIFT transaction, holiday or not. But the hackers were so thorough, they hacked the printer too. They manipulated it so it would continue to print, but only spew out completely blank pages. So the duty employee who came in over the weekend saw the blank paper and, without really investigating further, just assumed it was a mechanical glitch to be dealt with on Saturday.
Section 4. The missing millions and the getaway. Let's look at the aftermath.
Saturday morning finally arrives in Bangladesh. The printer is fixed, the SWIFT system is unlocked, and sheer terror sets in as the staff sees a barrage of red flags and warnings from the New York Fed. Ultimately, because of that single missing O, alarms were raised in time to halt $850 million worth of transactions. The $20 million sent to Sri Lanka was also held up, but it was too late to save everything. 5 requests had already slipped through the cracks, $81 million had successfully landed in the Philippines. And the laundering process was blindingly fast. While Bangladesh frantically sent stop payment messages to the RCBC Bank in Manila, the holiday meant they just sat there unread. By Tuesday, a branch manager allegedly ignored the warnings and allowed the withdrawals from those dormant accounts anyway. To make the money disappear, the millions were immediately shuttled into massive casinos in Manila, converted directly into casino chips to completely break the paper trail, and then transferred out to untraceable accounts in Hong Kong. While the bank manager eventually received a 7-year prison sentence across multiple laundering cases, the masterminds in that $81 million completely vanished. It's been years since this historic digital siege, leaving us with a lingering, kind of wild psychological paradox. When you look at the meticulous year-long planning and the sheer scale of the vulnerability, you really have to ask, should the Bangladesh bank mourn the $81 million they lost to these invisible masterminds? Or should they celebrate the $850 million they saved, all because someone forgot to type the letter O? It truly leaves you pondering the incredible and sometimes terrifying role of pure luck in global cybersecurity.